What's up, guys? So basically today I'm gonna speak about how to read news on the trading financial market, as it's one of the most important steps that you can do to improve your trading, to not lose money in the first place. This video is basically made on the inspiration of the TGR's videos that I'm gonna put it right here, so you can watch too if you want to. But in my video, I'm gonna explain a bit more deeper, maybe a bit more simpler, I don't know. And also, I'm gonna have the spreadsheet. But right now, I'm just gonna jump straight into how to read news and what the steps you need to take to set up your Forex Factory account. Here we go, guys. That's a spreadsheet that I talked about previously. So basically, that spreadsheet gonna help you to navigate through my video. So first thing first, what you gotta do is you gotta download the Forex Factory. I have the link in my spreadsheet, so you just click on this link, and it's gonna move you straight to the Forex Factory. After you've done that, you can change the time to where you live, match automatically or anything else. I have US because I just prefer it more. After you've done that, as you can see in my spreadsheet, we have the filters red, orange, and gray. What this means is you're gonna go to this filter thing, and in expected impact, you're gonna choose the red, the orange, and gray, and you're just gonna delete the yellow ones. So the red ones, it's like high impact news, PMI, SPI, the type of news that you should not probably trade while you're on the market, but you still can. After that, orange news, they have a bit less impact, and you can turn them off too, but I prefer to have them on. I just don't know why, but I like it more. After that, we have the gray news. So the gray news is basically bank holiday. And what it means, it's you should never, fucking never, I'm talking to you, motherfucker. You should never do that. You should never trade on the great news, because you're gonna just lose so much money if you trade on the great news. Because of there is no liquidity, and it's just absolutely reckless to trade on that. So I'm gonna say it one time more. Don't trade on the great news. That's it. After you've done that, you're gonna go to my spreadsheet, and here you see if you trade Nasdaq or S&P 500, you just gotta choose. Here in currencies, you gotta choose USD. But if you trade any other pairs like JPY, GBP, you're just gonna choose them. But it's not for me. I'm the index trader. After you've done that, you're gonna apply the filter. And now I'm just gonna jump straight into example how to read the news. So here we go. In short, it's a pretty good example to show you how to read them, as we had so much news, and you can learn so much from that. So basically we have two types of news, the red ones and the orange ones. As I said, red ones have really much impact on the market, and you should not open position while the red news didn't come out. So imagine you sit like 9:30 a.m. and you want to take some trade like upwards, but you see that in 9:45 there is a red news. You should never take it. You should never take this trade. You should take trade only after red news pass, like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, I don't care. Just after them. Because if you're gonna open trade before them and news gonna come out, and the news gonna be really, really important, and it's gonna move the market in the wrong direction, you're just gonna lose so much money, even if you have stop loss. So never trade before the red news comes out. Here we go. The next step I'm gonna teach you is how to read them. Here you see if actual greater than a forecast is good for currency, but it's bad for Nasdaq and S&P 500. So basically what it means. Here we have the flash manufacturer PMI and flash service PMI. What you gotta do is you gotta press on this little file, open a detail basically. And here you can see usual effect. And this usual effect, you're gonna see actual greater than forecast is good for currency. I'm gonna explain. When it's good for currency, it's bad for Nasdaq and S&P 500. When it's good for USD, it's bad for S&P 500 and Nasdaq. So as we see here, actual greater than forecast is good for currency. And what do we got here? Our forecast was 49.7 and our actual was 53.3. So actual was greater than forecast. It was good for USD, but it was bad for Nasdaq and S&P 500. What it means that Nasdaq and then S&P 500, they did go down at the point when this news came out. I'm gonna show you example here basically. I found it so you can see there's 9:45 Thursday, and what do we see here? The candle just drops, and if you enter position as I said 9:30, imagine you went long, and you had stops below here. This news comes out and it rents your stop loss, it fucks you up, you lose a bunch of money. You don't want that, really don't want that. Next thing, what we see, if actual is less than forecast, it's good for currency. But it's bad for Nasdaq and S&P 500. So what it means is here we have the unemployment claims that and as we did previously with PMI, you're just gonna open detail, and here you're gonna see in usual effect a bit different situation. So here we can see actual is less than forecast is good for currency. So our forecast was 226,000, but what our actual was 2,350k. And as you see here, it was not less, it was more than 226. So it means it was bad for currency, but good for Nasdaq and S&P 500. I hope you get what I mean, like just a little bit, but I'm gonna show you a bit more later. So we've seen charts, basically, as I said, it was bad for USD, but it was good for S&P 500 and Nasdaq. And what happened at 8:30? Boom, we went up. Like, it is what the market do, and you just gotta know it. It's not that important to read the news, but it's mostly important to avoid trading on the really news day. For the sake of your knowledge as a trader, you just gotta know how to read them. In my spreadsheet, I wrote exactly how to read them, and I hope you're gonna understand what I mean by that. So firstly, we can start with as this news, PMI news that I talked about previously. If actual is greater than forecast, is good for currency. Good for currency, it means it's good for USD. But when it's good for USD, it's at the same time bad for indexes. So like, if you have news that if actual greater than forecast is good for currency and actual is actually better than forecast, then Nasdaq and S&P 500 will go down. But if we have news that if actual greater than forecast is good for currency and actual is worse than forecast, then Nasdaq and S&P 500 will go up. So imagine that actual was like 45 here. It was less than forecast. So what it means is that the price of the indexes will go up, it will blow. Next, if we have the news that says if actual less than forecast is good for currency and actual is worse than forecast, I know it can be a bit complicated, but trust the process, just trust the process. Just try to think. If we have news that says if actual is less than a forecast is good for currency and actual is actually worse than forecast, then Nasdaq and S&P 500 will go down. as it is good for currency. When it's good for currency, it's at the same time bad for Nasdaq and S&P 500. And the last situation that you can find yourself in is if we have news that says if actual less than forecast is good for currency and actual is better than a forecast, that means that price will go up, as I showed you in this example right here. It went up. So I hope you understand what I meant. If you don't, then please leave a comment. Maybe I can explain this somehow better. But there is the most important part I left to the end, so you guys that watch this video to the end will know what you gotta do and what is actually the most important mistakes that you should never do. So first things, rules. Never trade on gray news. Never. As it is the bank holiday and there is low liquidity, low volatility in the market just moves sideways and there is no point of trading. Just close market, go speak with your friends, do some funny stuff, go to gym, go to school, I don't know what you do, just do something better. And then the next rule that I have for you, it's never trade when the red news starts. So imagine you want to take a trade at 9:40 and red news come out at 9:45. You never take this trade. You trade only after the red news come out. Again, I'm gonna fucking say it 100 more times. You trade after the red news came out. Because if you trade at the red news, the market is gonna fucking kill you. Like, actually, it's not gonna care if you have stop loss, you're just gonna lose money. So stop gambling, don't trade before red news come out. After that, sometimes on the weeks we have the no news Monday, like we had the previous week on August 18th. We had no news, and no news Monday is usually have less volatility than normal days. You still can take trades, it's not a problem, just de-risk your position or risk less. And also sometimes we have the days when the big guy speaks, like President Trump or the Jackson Hole Symposium or the Fed Chair Powell speaks. Here's a really great example on the Friday, August 22. You should not trade on the days like this, because if they say something sketchy, the market is just gonna drop or it's just gonna grow up. We don't know. We don't want to gamble. We don't want to lose money. So basically, this is the rules you gotta follow to stay profitable on the financial market. I do not have this spreadsheet in my account on YouTube. I'm gonna have link to it, and I hope you're gonna download it. Enjoy the video. I tried to explain stuff a bit easier, but it's really complicated. If something, you just can watch the TGR video, which I think is absolutely great. But thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you. Last video we get 120 views and it was amazing for me. And I also got 2 subscribers. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate the work. I hope you're gonna put in work too. I hope you're gonna get successful. Let's go, guys. Come on.